told me a couple of years ago when we was making coach hiring Robert Saleh. We need to get Robert Saleh. Robert Saleh is going to be the greatest thing. Who is this Dan Campbell guy? We should have got Robert Saleh. Everybody, it was a mistake them hiring Dan Campbell when Robert Saleh was out there. Well, today Robert Saleh got fired from the Jets. Man, what are your thoughts?
I think the truth is somewhere, not the truth, but I'm somewhere in between there. Um, I wanted Robert Saleh, but on the flip side, in my defense, I had no idea who Dan Campbell was. Obviously, I knew who Dan Campbell was. I knew he played at some point. They show a highlights of him standing on the sideline, interim coach in Miami.
Yeah.
All of that. But as far as who was Dan Campbell, I had no idea who he was. And I would imagine that you didn't know he was a candidate going into the search.
No, I didn't. I didn't know that he was a candidate at the time when they brought him in, but I did love the fact of hiring an ex player as a coach, and I love the idea of having the staff being ex coaches at the time. So when they hired Dan Campbell, I was all aboard. Even you know what I'm saying, even though he was talking about biting the kneecaps and all that, and everybody thought it was a big joke. You know what I'm saying? I was with it. You know what I'm saying? Ex coach. Better? What better? Who better to coach players than an ex player? So that's where I was at with it.
Yeah, I was surprised at the response when he was hired. That people just the whole nation latched on to that biting kneecaps thing, and I just he said that, and I might have chuckled a little, and people were just so shocked, and I'm like he used to play football, he's an intense guy, like I mean that wasn't that surprising to me, and once he was hired, my only problem with the whole process was that they hired him before they hired the GM. I was worried about that, but as far as him coming here, I was all for giving him a chance, and even in the beginning stages, I had my doubts, especially a Minnesota game where I don't even remember the ramifications, or what season it was, but I wanted him to kick a field goal. He didn't kick it. He went for it. They didn't get it. Then I think I wanted him to go for it, and I think he kicked the field goal, and they missed the field, and it was just a flat out mess. But that's neither here nor there. We know who Dan Campbell is. We know where we're at, and we know he was a good hire. As far as Robert Saleh was a hot name coming out of San Francisco. That they whole playoff run, every time the defense made a big play, you saw him on the sideline going crazy. He was, on paper, not on paper, but visually, he was what we got in Dan Campbell. We thought that Robert Saleh was the guy that we've gotten in Dan Campbell, meaning, an intense, fiery guy, physically built, opposed to what we had before in Matt Patricia. Like
Right.
this guy's an athlete. He understands what it means, and he ends up going to the Jets. Now, all I can say for the Jets, he might have had a chance all the way up until Aaron Rodgers got signed and or traded for. Once they acquired Aaron Rodgers, I think I think everybody I think everybody knew that it was Aaron Rodgers' team except for Robert Saleh. It was Robert Saleh was determined to convince everybody that this was still his team, and I think ultimately that led to him getting fired.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you, man. Yeah, once they hire Aaron Rodgers, yeah, like you said, it's like they left him out of the loop. Like, hey, you didn't know that this is Aaron Rodgers' team now, and that is definitely the reason he got fired. Um, yeah, man. So immediately after he got fired, questions went in the air. Uh, where does Robert Saleh go from here? and what are the future of the Jets? So like, um, the questions were: do Detroit's make a play to bring Robert Saleh here if AG goes, if AG leaves this year, and so what does this make Aaron Rodgers look like if the Jets go on to be successful? Then does that prove that Robert Saleh was a terrible coach and Aaron Rodgers was right all along? And if the Jets continue to be terrible, does that mar Aaron Rodgers' legend or no reputation or legacy?
So we start with Aaron Rodgers. So going forward, I think Aaron Rodgers petitioned for a lot when he went to the Jets. One of them was that they get his old offensive coordinator from Green Bay, Nathaniel Hackett. If I'm not mistaken, Nathaniel Hackett is still there. So if I would guess that they're gonna make him the interim coach. I'm sure that information is out there. I should look it up, but I would imagine they move Nathaniel Hackett to interim head coach. That way, Aaron Rodgers has his best friend, a head coach, and then I was telling you earlier, man, I wouldn't be surprised if now Salah's out. We might as well go all in. Go get Devontae Adams. Why not? Make it Green Bay 2.0. But if it doesn't work out, which I don't suspect that they're gonna, turn the season around or anything, um, or if they do turn it around, I wouldn't say it was necessarily a reflection of Robert Saleh. I would just say more so that you had two forces pulling the team in two different directions. So essentially, one of them had to go, and it just happened to be Saleh. So now they can move in one solid direction, and that is the Aaron Rodgers direction. As far as Saleh, I would like to, if it was up to me, if it was up to me in my perfect simulation, I would like to see Carolina fire their coach again, and and I would like to see Robert Saleh go there. Just the team, like I was telling you earlier, I feel like Saleh is more of a you know, he's gonna promote physicality, and I just felt like the Jets are built for finesse. And I envision Saleh in a NFC team, where physicality I feel like is more prevalent in the NFC than it is the AFC. So send him to a team with the Panthers with no expectations, very little hope, and give him opportunity to rally those guys around, and where a 6-win season would be a step in the right direction. I think that would be his best opportunity. Otherwise, he could go back to being a D coordinator and go from there.
Okay, so you still think he has a shot at a head coaching job, even though he wasn't that successful in New York?
Yeah, absolutely. Matt Patricia didn't get a head coaching job, but he still got a couple of jobs. Obviously he went back to the Patriots, but for whatever reason, the Eagles was like, "Hey, let's give Matt Patricia a call." So once you're coaching the NFL, you just got to hang around long enough and then put something back together. Jim Schwartz still hanging around.
Yeah, yeah, man. Well, we'll see what happens, man. I think after seeing Aaron Rodgers play last week, man, I was on the Aaron Rodgers is not done. Aaron Rodgers still has a chance to turn it around. But after seeing him play last week, I don't know, man. My faith in Aaron Rodgers is it took a big hit that last game, man. What I saw out there, what he threw three picks last week. Um, I mean, don't get me wrong, man. His receivers were not helping him out. It was a couple of throws I saw he put right on the money. That one pass to Robert Saleh in the end zone could have won them or kept them in that game, and he dropped it. You know what I'm saying? So maybe Devontae Adams does come and help them out of and they can return the form, but I personally think that if Aaron Rodgers does not turn this around after no the bickering and everything he had going on with Robert Saleh, I think it does mar his legacy.
Yeah, I kind of just put it, Brett once Brett Favre left the Packers, he went to Minnesota and had an amazing year, but then ironically, he went to the Jets and it was very forgettable. And forgettable so much that, nobody thinks when you think of Brett Favre, now you think about, now you think about other things when you think about Brett Favre uh outside of football. But but
Right. Yeah,
but
and when he left the Packers, he had a better season with the Vikings than he did with the Jets.
yeah, but I would almost say that I would say Rodgers stayed with the Packers longer than Favre did.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it's Jordan on the Wizards. It's all of that. I would say that when you think of Aaron Rodgers, you're gonna think of Aaron Rodgers on the Packers, and this whole Jets thing will just be like a blip on the radar. And then Aaron Rodgers, he was flirting with running for vice president. So, you know, 10 years from now, you either gonna think of 10 years, 10 years from now, you gonna think of Aaron Rodgers on the Packers or whatever he's got going on 10 years from now. But this is
I
gonna be a
think
blip.
I think the difference between Brett Favre and Michael Jordan on the Wizards and all those other guys is the hype surrounding Aaron Rodgers going to the Jets was so much more extensive than it was with those other guys.
Yeah, it was, but for whatever reason, man, the media loves the Jets. They're up there with the pack with the Cowboys and well, I can't really think of nobody else. But yeah, for some reason, man, like ESPN, I guess it's because it's so close. Um,
It's New York.
location, yeah, so close location wise that they just love the Jets, and I know Mike Greenberg, he's a huge Jets fan, so I know he's got pull. So, I just think that they just love covering the Jets, but they got a long way to go.
Yeah, definitely.